Marcus Westwood stood at his penthouse window, staring at the city lights below, his hand trembling as he clutched a manila folder. Inside was a secret that could destroy everything. In 3 weeks, he was supposed to marry the love of his life. But the document in his hands told a story Sophia had never shared. A criminal record. 2 years in prison. Embezzlement. His heart pounded. Let's rewind 12 hours. That morning, Marcus had woken up like any other day, confident and in control. His tech empire was thriving. His wedding plans were flawless, and Sophia Bennett, the compassionate nonprofit director who had stolen his heart at a charity gala 2 years ago, was about to become his wife. The media called them the perfect couple, the cold billionaire who finally learned to love, melting for the warm-hearted humanitarian. Their engagement had been plastered across every magazine cover, every gossip blog, every news outlet. Marcus kissed Sophia's photo on his desk before heading into a morning meeting. His assistant, David, knocked on the door with the usual stack of documents requiring signatures. At the bottom of the pile was a plain manila folder labeled Confidential Security, Report, S. Bennett. What's this? Marcus asked, barely looking up from his laptop. Routine background check, sir. Your head of security wanted you to review it before the wedding, David replied, his voice careful, measured. Marcus waved his hand dismissively. I'll look at it later. Nothing ever changes with these reports. Sophia's an open book. David hesitated at the door. Sir, I think you should read this one sooner rather than later. But Marcus was already on another call, negotiating a merger worth millions. The folder sat on his desk, unopened, for hours. That afternoon, Sophia video called him, her face glowing with excitement. Marcus, the florist just sent samples, and they're absolutely gorgeous. I can't decide between the white roses and the peonies. What do you think? Marcus smiled, his heart warming at her enthusiasm. Whatever makes you happy, Sophia. You could walk down the aisle carrying dandelions, and you'd still be the most beautiful bride in the world. She laughed, that musical sound that made everything feel right. You're impossible. Oh, and your mother called. She wants to host a dinner for your extended family next week, so they can meet me properly. I'm so nervous, Marcus. What if they don't like me? They'll love you, Marcus assured her. You're perfect, Sophia. Absolutely perfect. After they hung up, Marcus finally reached for the manila folder. He opened it casually, expecting the usual clearance confirmations, credit checks, employment history. His eyes scanned the first page, then stopped. His blood ran cold. Subject: Sophia Marie Bennett. Date of birth: June 22nd, 1996. Criminal record: embezzlement, $250,000. Conviction date: July 2018. Sentence: 2 years. State Correctional Facility for Women. Released: June 2020. The words blurred. Marcus read them again and again. His hands shook as he flipped through pages of court documents, arrest records, mugshots. There was Sophia, 7 years younger, her eyes hollow and terrified in the booking photo. The woman he thought he knew completely had spent 2 years in prison, and she'd never told him. Marcus's chest tightened. He loosened his tie, gasping for air. He grabbed his phone and called his head of security, Richard. Why wasn't I told about this immediately? Marcus demanded, his voice sharp. Sir, we only completed the deep background check yesterday. The records were sealed because she was a first-time offender who completed her sentence and rehabilitation program. It took considerable resources to access them. I thought you should see the full report before I briefed you. There's more. Yes, sir. The details of her case are complicated. I suggest you read everything before making any decisions. Marcus hung up and dove into the file. The legal documents painted a damning picture. Sophia had worked as an accountant for a small investment firm. Over 6 months, she had systematically transferred funds from client accounts to an offshore account. When auditors discovered the discrepancy, the trail led directly to her. She'd confessed immediately, pled guilty, and accepted her sentence without fighting it. No appeals, no claims of innocence, just quiet acceptance. But why? Why would the woman who dedicated her life to helping others, who ran a nonprofit on a shoestring budget, who cried when homeless families found housing, why would she steal $250,000? Marcus poured himself a scotch, his third of the evening. He looked at their engagement photo on the credenza. Sophia's smile was radiant, genuine. Had it all been a lie? Was she after his money? His stomach churned at the thought. He'd been so careful his entire adult life, guarding against gold diggers and opportunists. And yet, had he been fooled by the one person he'd let past his defenses? His phone buzzed. A text from Sophia. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. I love you, Marcus. More than you'll ever know. Marcus threw his phone across the room. It shattered against the wall. He didn't sleep that night. At 6 a.m, he texted Sophia. Come to the penthouse. Now. We need to talk. Her reply came immediately. Is everything okay? You're scaring me. Just come. An hour later, Sophia arrived, breathless from rushing. She looked young, vulnerable, innocent. Marcus, what's wrong? You look terrible, she said, reaching for him. He stepped back, and she froze, her hands suspended in the air between them. Marcus pointed to the manila folder on the coffee table. Sophia's eyes followed his gesture, and when she saw it, her face drained of all color. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. 2 years, Marcus said, his voice cold. 2 years in prison for embezzlement. Were you ever going to tell me? Sophia's legs seemed to give out. She sank onto the couch, her hands covering her face. Marcus, please. Let me explain. Explain. Marcus's voice rose. Explain how you've been lying to me for 2 years? Explain how I'm 3 weeks away from marrying a convicted felon and I'm finding out from a background check? Explain how you were going to stand in front of our friends and family and promise me honesty and trust when you've been hiding the biggest secret of your life. Tears streamed down Sophia's face. I wanted to tell you. God, Marcus, I tried so many times. But every time I opened my mouth, I saw the way you looked at me. Like I was this pure, good person, and I couldn't bear to watch that look disappear. I was a coward. You're damn right you were a coward. Marcus shouted. Did you think I wouldn't find out? Did you think you could just bury your past and pretend it never happened? Sophia stood up, her sadness transforming into anger. What was I supposed to do, Marcus? Led with, hi. I'm Sophia. I'm an ex-con on our first date. Tell me, would you have given me a chance? Would the great Marcus Westwood have looked twice at a black woman with a criminal record? That's not fair. Isn't it? Sophia's voice cracked. You live in a world where everything is perfect, where everyone has pristine reputations and flawless pasts. I didn't fit into that world, Marcus. I still don't. I knew that from the beginning. Marcus grabbed the folder and thrust it at her. You stole money, Sophia. $250,000. From people who trusted you. How am I supposed to reconcile that with the woman who claims to care so much about helping others? Sophia's face crumpled. You don't understand. You don't know what happened. Then tell me. Marcus roared. Tell me why you did it. Sophia wiped her tears angrily. I did it because the man I loved threatened to kill my little sister if I didn't. I did it because I was stupid and scared and I thought I could protect her. I did it because I was 24 years old and terrified, and I made the worst decision of my life. The words hung in the air. Marcus stared at her, his anger faltering. What? Sophia's voice dropped to a whisper. His name was Derek. I met him in college. He was charming, successful, everything I thought I wanted. But after we moved in together, he changed. He became controlling, then violent. I tried to leave, but he said he'd hurt my family. My sister, Keisha, was only 16. She was everything to me, Marcus. Our parents died when she was 10, and I raised her. I couldn't let anything happen to her. She sank back onto the couch, her body shaking. Derek had gambling debts. Serious ones. The kind where people break your legs or worse. He needed money fast, and he knew I had access to client accounts at work. He said if I didn't help him, he'd go after Keisha. He showed me pictures of her leaving school, walking home alone. He knew her schedule, Marcus. Every single day. Marcus felt his anger draining away, replaced by a cold dread. "Why didn't you go to the police?" "I tried," Sophia said bitterly. "They said without concrete threats or evidence of stalking, they couldn't do anything. Derek was too smart. He never put anything in writing. It was all verbal, all manipulative. So I did what he asked. I moved the money. I thought once he paid off his debts, it would be over. But it wasn't. He kept asking for more." "So you confessed?" Sophia nodded. "When auditors started investigating, I knew it was only a matter of time. Derek told me if I implicated him, he'd hurt Keisha. So I took the fall. I pled guilty. I told the prosecutors I acted alone, that I was greedy and stupid. They believed me because the money trail led only to me. Derek had made sure of that." Marcus sat down heavily in the armchair across from her. "What happened to him?" "I don't know," Sophia said. "After I went to prison, Keisha moved across the country to live with our aunt. I made her promise never to contact Derek, never to come back until it was safe. I haven't seen him since the trial. For all I know, he's living his perfect life somewhere, and I'm the one who paid the price." Marcus rubbed his face with both hands. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" "Because I was ashamed." Sophia's voice broke. "Because I was weak when I should have been strong. Because I let a man manipulate me into destroying my life. Because every day in prison, I hated myself for not finding another way. Because even though I did it to protect Keisha, it was still wrong. I still broke the law. I still hurt people whose money I stole, even if I never saw a penny of it." She stood up, grabbing her purse. "I understand if you can't marry me. I knew this day would come eventually. I just hoped we'd have more time." "Where are you going?" Marcus asked. "I'm leaving the city," Sophia said quietly. "I won't be your scandal, Marcus. I won't be the mistake that ruins your reputation. You deserve someone better. Someone whose past doesn't come with criminal records and tabloid headlines." She walked to the elevator, her shoulders squared despite the tears on her cheeks. As the doors began to close, she looked at Marcus one last time. "For what it's worth, I really did love you. That was never a lie." The elevator descended, and Marcus stood alone in his penthouse, surrounded by silence and the wreckage of his perfect life. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. Let me know what you think Marcus should do. Would you forgive Sophia? Keep watching to find out what happens next. Marcus spent the rest of the day in a fog. He canceled all his meetings, ignored dozens of calls, and sat in his office staring at nothing. By evening, his board of directors had heard about the situation. Someone always talked, and they called an emergency meeting. "Marcus, we need to discuss the situation with Miss Bennett." Charles Rothman, the board chairman, said grimly. They were gathered via video conference. 12 faces on screens surrounding Marcus like a jury. "There's nothing to discuss," Marcus said flatly. "I'm afraid there is," Charles continued. "If you proceed with this marriage, the media will crucify us. Our stock price will tank. Investors will question your judgment. We cannot afford this kind of scandal." "Sophia isn't a scandal," Marcus said, but his voice lacked conviction. "She's a convicted felon." Another board member interjected. "The optics are disastrous. We're asking you, as a fiduciary duty to this company and its shareholders, to cancel the wedding." Marcus's best friend and business partner, James, spoke up from his screen. "Marcus, man, I know you care about her. But what do you really know about Sophia? You've known her for 2 years, and she's been lying to you the entire time. How can you trust her?" Marcus looked around at the faces on the screens, all of them waiting for him to make the practical, logical, business-savvy decision. The decision that protected the company, protected his reputation, protected everything he'd built. "Give me 48 hours, Marcus finally said. "Then I'll give you my answer." After the meeting ended, Marcus sat in the darkness of his office. He pulled up Sophia's nonprofit website on his computer. The About Us page showed photos of women, formerly incarcerated women, who had rebuilt their lives with Sophia's help. Job training programs, housing assistance, counseling services. Every woman in those photos was smiling, hopeful. One testimonial caught his eye. Sophia changed my life. When I got out of prison, I had nothing. No job, no home, no hope. She didn't just help me find work. She believed in me when no one else would. She told me her own story and showed me that our worst mistakes don't define us. She saved my life. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Sophia had used her own pain, her own shame to help others. She turned her darkest experience into a beacon of hope for women who needed it most. That wasn't the behavior of a criminal. That was courage. He called Richard, his head of security. I need you to find someone. A man named Derek. Late 30s, probably. He was Sophia's boyfriend 7 years ago. What am I looking for? Everything. I want to know if Sophia's story is true. Sir, with all due respect, does it matter? Even if her story is true, she still committed the crime. Marcus paused. Just find him. 24 hours later, Richard called back. I found him, Derek Morrison. He's living in Miami, working as a financial consultant. Clean record. No arrests, no outstanding warrants. But I dug deeper, and it gets interesting. How interesting? 6 months after Sophia went to prison, Morrison paid off a gambling debt of $300,000. Cash. No paper trail on where the money came from. And there's something else. Sophia's sister, Keisha Bennett, filed a restraining order against him 4 years ago. It was granted, but barely anyone knows about it because the records are in a different state. Marcus's jaw tightened. So Sophia was telling the truth. It appears so. Morrison manipulated her, threatened her sister, and walked away clean while she went to prison. It's not evidence we could use in court now. Too much time has passed, but it corroborates her story. Marcus hung up and immediately drove to Sophia's apartment. Her car wasn't in the parking lot. He called her. No answer. He tried again and again. Finally, he called Keisha, whose number he'd gotten from Sophia's emergency contacts. Mr. Westwood? Keisha's voice was cautious. Keisha, do you know where Sophia is? She's not answering her phone. There was a long pause. She's at our aunt's house upstate. She's packing. She said she's leaving for good. I need the address. Why? So you can hurt her more? She called me last night, Mr. Westwood. She was sobbing. She said she finally found someone she could build a life with, and she lost it because of her past. Because of what she did to protect me. Keisha, please. I need to talk to her. You want to know something? Keisha's voice shook with anger. Sophia didn't just go to prison for me. She gave up everything. Her career, her reputation, her future. And she never once regretted it because I was safe. She's the bravest person I know, and you made her feel like a criminal all over again. You're right, Marcus said quietly. I did. And I need to fix it. Please, Keisha, give me a chance to make this right. After a moment, Keisha rattled off an address. Marcus was already running to his car. The drive took 3 hours. Marcus arrived at a small cottage surrounded by woods just as the sun was setting. Sophia's car was parked in the driveway. He knocked on the door, his heart hammering. Sophia opened it, her eyes red and swollen. When she saw him, she tried to close the door, but Marcus caught it. Please, Sophia, just hear me out. There's nothing left to say, Marcus. Yes, there is. Marcus took a deep breath. I was wrong. I judged you without knowing the full story. I let my pride and my fear control me instead of listening to the woman I love. I'm sorry. Sophia's lip trembled. It doesn't change anything. Your world will never accept me. Your board, your investors, the media. They'll destroy you if you marry me. Then let them, Marcus said simply. I'll build a new world. One where the woman I love doesn't have to hide who she is. You don't mean that. Marcus pulled out his phone. Watch me. He opened his social media account, clicked on the video function, and hit record. My name is Marcus Westwood, and I need to tell you all something important. 3 days ago, I learned that my fiancée, Sophia Bennett, has a criminal record. She spent 2 years in prison for embezzlement. When I found out, I reacted badly. I accused her of lying. I questioned everything about our relationship. I was angry and hurt and scared. Sophia's hand flew to her mouth. Marcus, what are you doing? He continued recording. But then I learned the truth. Sophia didn't steal that money for herself. She did it because the man she was with threatened to hurt her younger sister if she didn't help him. She was 24, terrified, and trapped. And when she got caught, she took the fall alone to keep her sister safe. She went to prison to protect someone she loved. Tears rolled down Sophia's cheeks as Marcus kept talking. After she was released, Sophia could have been bitter. She could have given up. Instead, she dedicated her life to helping other formerly incarcerated women rebuild their lives. She turned her pain into purpose. She became a voice for people society had forgotten. And I almost lost her because I cared more about what people thought than about who she actually is. Marcus looked directly at Sophia as he spoke into the camera. Sophia Bennett is a survivor. She's a hero. And she's the love of my life. If you have a problem with that, if you think her past makes her unworthy, then you're not invited to our wedding. Because I choose her. I'll always choose her. He stopped recording and posted the video immediately. Within seconds, notifications started flooding in. Comments, shares, likes. The video was going viral in real time. Sophia stared at him, speechless. You just destroyed your reputation. No, Marcus said, stepping closer and taking her hands. I just saved it. Because nothing I've built means anything if I lose you. The company, the money, the status, it's all worthless compared to you. I was so focused on protecting my perfect life that I forgot what made it perfect in the first place. You, your kindness, your strength, your incredible heart. Marcus, marry me, Sophia. Not because our wedding is already planned or because we've already sent the invitations. Marry me because you're the best person I know. And I want to spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of you. Sophia threw her arms around his neck, sobbing. Yes, yes, of course, yes. They held each other as the sun set, and Marcus's phone continued to buzz with an endless stream of notifications. The video had millions of views. Comments poured in. This is what real love looks like. You're both so brave. Sophia, you're an inspiration. True love conquers all. The media picked up the story overnight. By morning, Marcus and Sophia were trending worldwide. Some criticized Marcus's decision, but overwhelmingly, the response was supportive. Sophia's nonprofit received a flood of donations. Women's advocacy groups praised Marcus for using his platform to challenge stigma around incarceration. Even some of Marcus's board members called to say they'd been wrong. 3 weeks later, Marcus and Sophia stood at the altar. The guest list was smaller than originally planned. Some people couldn't handle the scandal and declined their invitations. But everyone who mattered was there. Keisha was Sophia's maid of honor, tears of joy streaming down her face. James stood as Marcus's best man, having apologized profusely for doubting Sophia. And in the front rows sat a dozen women from Sophia's nonprofit, all of them dressed in their finest, celebrating the woman who had given them hope. Marcus's vows were simple. Sophia, you taught me that love isn't about perfection. It's about seeing someone's whole truth, their past, their scars, their mistakes, and choosing them anyway. It's about being brave enough to stand beside someone when the world says you should walk away. You are my truth, my courage, and my home. I love you, not despite your past, but because of how you've transformed it into something beautiful. Sophia's vows came through tears. Marcus, you proved that people can change, that judgment can turn to understanding, that love can be braver than fear. You saw the worst parts of my story and didn't run away. Instead, you ran toward me. You made me believe that I deserve happiness, that my past doesn't define my future. I love you for seeing me, all of me, and loving what you found. They kissed as their guests erupted in applause, and in that moment, nothing else mattered. Not the cameras flashing, not the scrutiny, not the critics. Just two people who had chosen love over fear. 1 year later, Marcus and Sophia stood together at the grand opening of the Westwood Bennett Foundation headquarters. The building would serve as a comprehensive resource center for formerly incarcerated individuals. Job training, legal assistance, counseling, housing support, and educational programs. It was everything Sophia had dreamed of but never had the resources to build. During the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Sophia addressed the crowd. "A year ago, I thought my past would cost me everything. I thought I would have to choose between honesty and happiness. But Marcus taught me that real love doesn't ask you to hide who you are. It celebrates your journey, honors your scars, and amplifies your voice. This foundation exists because one man decided that second chances matter, that people are more than their worst mistakes, and that love is the most powerful force for change." She looked at Marcus, standing beside her. "We've helped 500 people rebuild their lives this year. 500 people who society wrote off, who were told they'd never amount to anything, who thought they'd lost their chance at a future. And we're just getting started." The camera pulled back, showing the crowds gathered to celebrate, the building that would change countless lives, and the couple who had transformed scandal into purpose. As Marcus and Sophia cut the ribbon together, they knew that their story, messy, complicated, and imperfect, was exactly what the world needed to see. Because real love isn't about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone worth fighting for and choosing them every single day, no matter what the world says. Before we end, if this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment telling us what you thought. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that will make you believe in the power of love and second chances. Thank you for watching.